Hello, everyone. My name is Alex. Good to be with you all. I am returning from a little stint in Europe. If you want to read about it, I actually wrote last month's Substack. So if you are a So Confident member, you get free access to Linda Lee's Substack. And if you've been following this year, you know that every once in a while I'm kind of a guest author. So I wrote a little article about some of my top recommendations for the 3 places I went over the last few months. It kind of started with our London textile tour with a side trip to Paris with Betsy. Shout out to a favorite cookie spot that we found right next to our hotel in Paris. And then you're going to read about a few places in Paris, a few places in Geneva. I spent some time in Geneva in the French Alps with Linda doing a painting class. And then I also went down to Malta. So if you want to read about it, check it out at the Fresh Laundry Substack subscription. So you can get a little bit of a free, a portion of the article is free. And then if you want to pay for a subscription, you can read the rest of the article and the rest of other articles. So enjoy. But it's good to be back with you all. And I know Linda is with me. And today we are talking about one of my favorite topics in the world of fashion. It's something I tend to easily gravitate toward because of comfort, because of ease of style, because of fabrications, and because of my love for this. I decided to pitch a Threads article on this topic. So my loungewear article is out in the summer issue of Threads if you haven't caught it already. So it is quite a spread. So if you go to page 56 in the article, there's a few pages in there. So today we're talking mostly about this article. We're going to show off our favorite fabric for loungewear, although in the article I mention a lot of different patterns. I mention a lot of fabrics, and I mention a lot of variations and things to consider when you're working with coming up with a loungewear style that works for you. So Linda's with me, and I think we have some announcements we're going to talk about quickly at first. So hello, Linda.
Hello there. Well, I have to say, Alex, I'm really proud of you about this article. You are becoming a regular with Threads, which I think is fantastic. You know, they're always looking for new authors, and particularly, excuse me, particularly younger, fresher people than some of the more traditional things that they've been doing. So I'm so sorry. I've had a cough for a while. I haven't coughed for days, but of course I'm coughing right now. So there's that. I'm really proud of you, Alex. It's a great article. It's not often that an author gets an 8-page spread, which I couldn't believe it. Really, is fantastic. I just finished an article for Threads that'll be out, I believe, in the next issue. That it highlights some of the work that was done in the Cotswolds when you and Betsy went on the London textile experience, and we hired Sarah Campbell, who's a very well-known, award-winning legend textile designer in London, and she did a 3-day workshop with you all there. And she's been to Kansas, and I've seen her a couple of other times. So it was sort of the life and times of Sarah Campbell is what my article is about. And so check that out next month. But in the meantime, enjoy Alex's article because it's just chock full of garments and inspiration and color and really cool. Mm-hmm. But before we really get into that, we have a couple of new fabrics that we want to show you that are just fantastic for, we probably thought of them as fabrics for bottoms like trio pants or any of our pants, but it would make a great shirt fabric as well. So we have 2 stripes, one in brown and one in navy. And, you know, there's just such a prevalence of brown and these camels and neutrals that, you know, we haven't paid much attention to those colors for a long time. So I purposely ordered some browns, and this is a pinstripe that is woven so that it is a stripe on both sides. And it's linen, and it's just a perfect weight. I'm pretty sure this is the kind of linen that when you wash, it will soften. I haven't washed it yet. We just got it in, but I'm pretty sure it will. And then the navy color is a really nice denim color. So it's not a deep navy. Again, the stripe is a little bit narrower than the brown one, but woven so that you see the stripe on both sides. So there's really no right or wrong side. So those are brand new and on the website.
Yes, I'm placing the link to those in the chat so you guys can
okay.
those fabrics.
I got persuaded to just help a friend who's a former client in my interior design business. And I've done all of her houses, and she's moving again. And so she wanted me to help her. And I said, well, I'm not really in that business anymore, but I'll help you a little bit as best I can. So we went over to Restoration Hardware in Kansas City yesterday. And the entire showroom is dark brown, camel, neutral, cream, deep creams. And so it makes you realize that the trends in fashion follow the trends in interior design or whichever, but they're all reading the same projections of what's going to be happen in this season. And I just thought it was so interesting that there's a prevalence of these tones everywhere. And it's not something that I've paid much attention to until I just was struck yesterday about the comparison between the furnishings of Restoration Hardware and the fashions that and the fabrics that we've ordered more recently. So I thought that was kind of fun. So we have, where do you want to start, Alex? You want to start with some clothes? You want to start about talking about your concept of?
Yeah. Well, let me shout out a couple more announcements.
Okay.
Really get into it. We kind of have a wide variety of topics we're going to shout out today, so bear with us. But I want to just quickly mention our summer sewing series. So we have done this the last 2 years, and if you have followed along with any of our live streams and stuff we've been talking about, we have a new pattern that's out from the month of June. It is the Byrd blouse. And so with this class, we made an online workshop, and it provides step-by-step video access into making this pattern. And it's been really fun to see our customers making this. We have a Byrd blouse challenge that is still happening, where you can make the Byrd blouse in any variation you want. You can make it straight out of the pattern. You can make it out of the kit fabric, which is what you see Erin wearing here. You can make it into a dress, a jacket, whatever you want. And the final deadline to post your Byrd blouse challenge images is the 6th of July. So you have through the holiday weekend for the 4th of July to make a Byrd blouse if you want to still join us for this competition. And we will look through all of the images that are posted to either Facebook or Instagram. And then we're going to actually have a presentation on July 15th with all of the Byrd blouse images, and we will pick prize winners. So that is part of the summer sewing series. And you can make the pattern and learn how to make it with the video and also be a part of the challenge. And then the month of July is all about the trio pants, which is a project we did earlier in the year in season 1. But we're bringing it back because we love this versatile pant so much. So we're making a summer version of the pant, and we're doing it via a virtual sew along. So if you want to join the month of June and July, we're kind of combining and packaging these 2 months together. They're normally $75 each, but we're giving a great price at $101 for both June and July, where you get access to those 2 months of projects. So that's what's happening in July. Happy July, everyone. And so you can make the trio pants along with myself. The virtual sew along is next week on Thursday, July 10th. So I wanted to shout that out, and then let's see what else I got here quickly. Oh, Linda, do you want to mention the Frankie patterns?
Yeah, we have somewhat of a new printer in the last year or two, and they ship their patterns in our patterns in a sort of dilapidated box, or the kind of box that breaks down in the shipping. And so we generally get the printed patterns with envelopes that have like bent corners, a little bit of creasing, and they're not the kind of patterns that we would sell at full price. So we have a number of them on sale, I believe, and I can't remember, maybe Betsy remembers or Alex remembers, but they are slightly damaged, the envelopes, not the pattern, not the instructions, but the envelope is slightly, very slightly damaged, and we are putting those on a special price. So
They are available for $15.
okay, yeah, I could probably show you one, but it's I mean, it wouldn't. They're no different than they get when I store mine. So it's not like they're not torn or anything like that. It's just kind of bent.
Yeah. And I think those are they in the sale category, or you can just look up Frankie on the website. That would probably be the easiest thing.
Yeah.
There's a link in the chat. They're also on the sale category.
Okay.
Perfect. And the next thing I want to quickly go through is, if any of you did not join Sew Confident for the yearly and monthly membership, you can still join season 2. So if you also are thinking about joining the summer series for June and July, you can just continue on with us and be a part of the next 4 months of projects, which start in August and go through November. So season 2 is now available to purchase. This is if you are not a yearly or a monthly member with Sew Confident, but we are giving access to those of you that maybe just wanted to not join the full year, but you wanted to be a part of the community of Sew Confident in a little bit of a different format. So we're going to show, I think, the garments of season 2 here in the studio. Linda has some of them to show off, but with season 2, again, it starts in August, so you can think about it or take a look at the website details. But we are making an existing pattern, the Era jacket. We're turning that Era jacket into a pullover. Then for the month of September, we have a brand new pattern coming out. We're calling it the Contour Top. And this is a knit garment, and that is for the month of September. Then we are going back to an existing pattern, the Lotus skirt. And we're making a really interesting variation of the Lotus with scalloped edging details and in kind of a fall fabric, followed by November, the final project of season 2. This is again a new pattern. We're calling it the Sullivan pants, and that will be a new pattern available for the month of November. So you can join season 2 today, and you get 4 months of projects, and you can register for that for a special price. I think it's $180. I just put it up there. Am I right on that? One something. It's normally $300, and we're putting it on sale for a time. So if you want to join season 2, check that out. So Linda, did you want to show some of the garments?
Okay. So this is the Era jacket, and it has, kind of a big splayed collar with a miter, tapered sleeve with a vent opening, and some side openings. So it's a short jacket. I love this jacket, really. This is a pretty interesting fabric, actually. But we are turning it into a pullover. And we have yet to decide if we're going to do the front panel, but that's going to be pretty easy to do if you choose to do that. But it's a matter of finding the center front. So there's a little bit of pattern work to do on this. Finding the center front, closing this up, creating this funnel, and then there are a couple of darts that help shape the overall neckline. So that's the first one. Then the second one is the contour. And this has really interesting features. There's no shoulder seam, but this interesting insertion of a sleeve. Darts here. This is actually a dart down the front, and these are darts, and all of that can be kind of moved around depending on you. We're putting it in using a very lightweight ponte. So it's perfect for kind of keeping the shape of this garment. I'm really excited about this. Everybody looks good in it. Here's another one that Erin just finished in a different color. We're still working on a few details, whether we're going to have facings or hems and that sort of thing, but we're there in terms of the overall look. And then we have a lotus skirt. And this is the detail, the scallop detail that Alex was talking about, where we're just applying that to the edge. This is an interesting pattern in that it's 2 pieces. It might be 3 pieces. I can't remember whether the yoke is 1 or 2 pieces, but nevertheless, there's a yoke pattern and then 1 large square-ish rectangle for the skirt. And this is in a Melton. I think we're still kind of looking for the fabric, but it'll be something like that, but not, hopefully not wool. And then Betsy, I believe, stole our pants. So she has those in Kansas City. Do you have those to show, Betsy?
I do. I've got them right here.
Okay.
So they're black, so they're a little hard to see, but they're a wide leg pant that have this really interesting piece that wraps on the front, which you can kind of see there. They've got a really great pocket detail. They have an invisible zipper along the side, but also elastic on the back and back pockets. So
yeah, it's one leg bigger than the other. It is, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the one that crosses over, overlaps, is a little bit wider than the other one. I think that's we've seen that style around over the years. Sometimes it ties, sometimes it buckles, but I like the fact that ours doesn't do either one of those, and so it's flatter. Great.
So those are our 4 projects for season 2. So again, if you want to join just those 4 projects, join season 2, and it is $180 instead of $300 normally. So you can check that out. There is also a pattern club for season 2. So you can still join the pattern club, which is something where you get access to the 4 patterns for the season at a special discounted price. Those products are all in the sale category today, so you can check them out as I'm talking about them or go back and look. All right. I think that's all of the announcements. All right, well, I say let's talk about the article, and I have a couple images of where I started, but when it comes to coming up with ideas for threads, this one was pretty easy and pretty straightforward for me, just because this outfit that I'm wearing right now, I will show a picture of a full body shot. And if you've seen me traveling, or if you've seen me at Sew Kansas or any of our sewing workshop events, you've seen me probably wear this outfit because truly I love it so much. So I just thought, if it's something I love, and I generally end up talking people into this fabric, I generally talk people into making some monochromatic look. At Sew Kansas, I'm selling that fabric off the shelf just because I love it. So I pitched it to Threads, these 2 ensembles that I have made in 2 different colors of our wonderful rib knit. And so since I have these 2 samples already made, for me, when I pitched to Threads, I showed them pictures of my ensemble, and I said, hey, I have this idea for loungewear. It's a big buzzword in the world of sewing and fashion. And at this point in 2025, we've probably all been a little bit sick of the word loungewear, because I think there's some misconceptions about loungewear. I think it got overused in 2020 when everyone was at home and watching Netflix. So loungewear is something that can fill a wide gap. So my job in this article was to pitch it in such a way where it could be defined very clearly, and I could give actually then a lot of inspiration for the world of loungewear. So it really started for me with doing some research into loungewear and why it became so popular sort of all of a sudden, especially in 2020. So these are the 2 celebrity mentions in the article. And I remember when these images came out in 2020, I think Vogue released these images. And if you know me, I'm a pop culture girly, so I love following celebrities. So Selena Gomez is on the left, and she came out of a limo wearing, this is legitimately a pajama set and a long robe with pumps. So she came out of a limo going to a high-end event in pajamas. And then Anna Wintour was pictured working from home in just a regular sweater and red jogger sweatpants. So both of these images were things people were talking about at the time as far as kind of how to approach loungewear and what it meant for everyone in especially the world of fashion. So then there were brands like Pangaea or Skims. Everyone was coming out with matching sets. Everyone was coming out with tops and bottoms that went together that you could comfortably wear at home or you could go out in them. And it just became something that probably the world of sewing and fashion was over-inundated, oversaturated with. So my definition of loungewear is that it's a two-piece outfit really that's cozy. So it's comfortable, it's worn in a casual environment like the home. And so that's, I go into a little bit of, it's not pajamas. Pajamas are what you sleep in. It's not athletic wear, although athletic wear can also be comfortable and worn at home. Generally, athletic wear has different fabrication, different styles within the two-piece sets. So I highlight in this article having two pieces and how to pair them together. So then I start with looking at different ways of looking at loungewear, starting with suggested patterns. I then go into traditional patterns and then elevated patterns. And another fun part of this article is I was asked to use patterns that were not just Sewing Workshop. So I got to do a little research into kind of what other pattern designers are making and how popular they are. I got to kind of look at their Instagram, their Facebook, their social media, and see what other patterns are there for the world of loungewear. So you will see other patterns suggested in this article. And then I go into fabric considerations. So that's kind of where the spread comes in, because especially with loungewear, you have to think about comfortable, cozy, yet elevated fabrics. So we'll probably talk about that a little bit. Another fun part of this article, Linda, you were mentioning brown earlier, and brown has been such a hot color really for the last few years. I remember, I think I was in London a few years ago, and all of the windows were covered with this camel brown in trench coats, in pants, in everything from head to toe. It was all about brown, and that really has stayed pretty true. Brown is just everywhere. So even though it's summer, and this is the summer issue of Threads, I still very much argued that brown was a highlighted color for the summer season. So I talk about the monochromatic colors, how to pair, of course, the same color of fabric and the same fabric head to toe. Or I talk about tone on tone. So you don't have to, if you don't want, have monochromatic looks. You can create different tones and play with different colors within your fabric or your design. And then I talk a little bit about telling stories with colors. So that's kind of the highlights of the article. When I write an article, it starts with a big outline. So I'm generally given kind of a broad topic, again, the topic of loungewear. And then it's my job to really break it down, and I'll present some options, and then Carol will come back to me with more kind of bullet points to research and consider. So some of those added bullet points that I had to consider were things like proportion. How do you think about proportion when it comes to loungewear, especially with different fabrics, with silhouettes, with drape, all of that? How do you think about added details? So things like embroidery, or adding a drawstring, or adding elastic to certain parts of it. You'll actually, in the article image, I'll just hold it up here for you to look at. The model actually took my sample and tied it at her waist and rolled up the legs. So, I generally do not do that. I generally wear it as a regular Eureka top that's lengthened slightly, and West End pants that are lengthened. but that's kind of an added detail and a way to style it. But then you'll see on the one I'm wearing here, it's worn how I would wear it. So let me go to pictures of myself in this wine color that I am wearing. So we've highlighted this a few times probably in our live streams. It started, I think, a couple years ago. Erin and I did a live stream on monochromatic looks. And so I made this outfit, I think, really pretty much for that live stream. So I am wearing a Eureka top. Again, it's lengthened. I lengthened this 2 inches. The Eureka top is just the most wonderful, boxy, simple, easy to make garment, especially for it can be done in wovens or knits. There's tons of variations for the Eureka, but I just thought this was a great base garment, really kind of a simple t-shirt look for me that I really enjoy. And then the West End pants are our widest leg pant, and normally they're shortened. They're more cropped, but I lengthened them to make this a full length look. So what do you think, Linda? You have any questions for me?
Well, this fabric, this rib knit, which we're going to show, and it's on the back wall, I was thinking about this morning because I have on the pants made out of that fabric. And I was holding up the hanger, and the hanger was heavy. And I remember writing an article many years ago for Threads about weight of fabric. And whenever you have what I call heavy hang, you're going to feel different in a garment. You're going to feel thinner. You're going to look thinner. I remember I did a comparison between a drapey black pant and a non-drapey black pant on the same model, and they look totally different. So it's one of those it's one of those magic fabrics. And even though it hangs heavy on the hanger, it doesn't stretch out. These pants don't grow in the closet, which is kind of one of the problems of the old slinkies that we used to use that were that kind of fabric, that kind of heavy hang. But this fabric is sort of magic. We call it a rib knit. It's not a rib like, you put it around a cuff or a collar or that sort of thing. It just has a rib texture to it. But we'll show you the colors.
So with this picture I showed, this is actually green. I think we don't have this color right now, perhaps. It is actually, yes, it's green and not gray. Probably on the screen it looks more gray. And yes, it is actually the West End pants and the Eureka top. The way they rolled it does make the pant look narrower. I want to know how they rolled it, because you can't just roll the West Ends up. You also have to kind of tuck them in order for it to probably attach to the calf like that. But yes, this is the West End. And they just kind of, probably for styling purposes, to give different looks of it. They truly are. I have, again, this wine color and this green color, and they are exactly the same. Both Eurekas, both West Ends, both lengthened in the same way. And so probably to give different looks to their article.
As I recall, didn't you lengthen the green ones a little bit more?
Maybe like an inch. I think I tried a different method of hemming. And
yeah. And so it's possible that they rolled them, because even though I think it's a really cute look, no matter what, it's possible that they were too long for her, the model. And so they got into that. I noticed they did that on an article that you did before. It's really a cute look, but you're right. I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
We need to find out.
I'm not sure, but all the patterns that are on sale today are patterns that are within this article. So again, I mentioned a lot of sewing workshop patterns. We kind of go with our, like I mentioned, the traditional or core loungewear things that you quickly think of when I would say the word loungewear. So a basic t-shirt, a Maison top, a Crane Street tee, and then a bottom like a Maison jogger. That would be kind of a quick go-to loungewear set for us at the sewing workshop. But then if you think of a more elevated option, the Marceau tee is a great tee to think about, pairing different fabrics and creating a tone-on-tone look, and then providing different bottom options if you're not a fan of the great grand wide leg of the West End.
Right. Well, you want to see some of those garments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's show them.
These are in the article. And then I brought a few more as well. So we start with the Maison jogger, which has the band at the bottom. So this is a pretty tapered leg. And if you don't put the band on the bottom, you probably do need to check the width of the calf and make sure that it suits you, it works for you. But this has an interesting waistband. It's a wide casing, but the elastic is about half the width of the casing. And then we've also included our stretchy shoelaces as the drawstring. So here's one, and this is actually a crane street in the same fabric, but there you have the same tone on tone. The crane street has these 3 pieces in the back, so it has 2 contoured seams. Short sleeve. I think that's a fantastic ensemble. So here is these are the Maison pants in a patterned knit. And then here is the Marceau with this same fabric as the cuff. Just a little bit of tying in. It's not like we used one whole half of the Marceau in this fabric. It's just a touch, which I think is a nice touch. Now the Marceau is interesting because it is offset between the left and the right sides. But you don't have to do that. You can make it into a solid t-shirt, and it's a nice fitting t-shirt. But its great feature is the sleeve, which has this wonderful pleat up the side seam, or up the sleeve seam. So those are the 2 ensembles that work with the Maison pants. Now on this model dress form, we do have a Maison top, and I love this top. It's oversized, has a nice band on the bottom that can be drawn in a little bit if you choose to, or it can be the same dimension as the top. The band is a little bit wider, which I like. And we have a great way of putting on bands. And then very drop sleeve. So that is the Maison top. Alex loves the crane street. And she designed an inverted design that's either one motif, or it can be broken up into other motifs. So this is a French terry. And we have a special thing that we've never done before. But we are selling finished crane streets that were made by Alabama Channon for us. And of course, you can wear it as a white t-shirt, you can dye it, or you can embellish it. You could paint it or embroider it or add some embellishment. This has a long sleeve. It comes with a short sleeve also. So these are on the website. Then we have them in small through extra large. Is that what we have, Alex?
We actually have them in extra small through XXL.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you can buy a finished t-shirt from us. Very well made. This is a little more wintry because of the neckline, but this is the Barcelona, which has this interesting asymmetric inset, funnel neck. I've done a little bit of binding around the edge of the sleeve and the neck. And it does have a drawstring at the bottom, but you don't have to do that, or just draw it up slightly so it's not really just tucked under you. but it's a great piece. This happens to be in French terry, which is one of the fabrics that Alex has talked about in the article. Believe it or not, this is a bamboo top. And it's in a rib knit as well, a little different rib knit than we're featuring today, but nevertheless, it has the texture. And this is the garment that's normally buttoned up the front, made in a cotton or a rayon or something like that, and it has this interesting pleat at the shoulder on the back. I always think of the Bristol as a great sweatshirt. I don't know if that goes exactly, but it gives you the idea that it's tonal, as Alex was talking about. It has this wonderful yoke, and then this V-shaped back insertion, and a band that's not really a band that draws in, but it's just a nice detail. So that's the Bristol. And then I have several things that are in the fabric that we're talking about today. Do you want to see those now, Alex?
Sure. I do just want to also mention that in the article I give a sorry, I'm echoing a little bit, I think maybe, but on page 5 of the article, that's all about sweatshirts. So I actually argue that sweatshirts can be an all-season staple, and so even in summer, it can be something that you can pull out and go to and wear around the house or wear out if you have an air-conditioned situation or you need to be a little bit warmer. So I put sweatshirts in the category of loungewear. And then there's a second portion, the last kind of pattern within the article is all about slim pants. So having a great pair of slim pants that you can wear at any moment, really. So I mentioned our beloved Helix pants as a great slim pant to consider for loungewear.
Exactly.
Along with some other patterns.
Yeah. Okay. Well, all of the fabrics in the back here are this rib knit that we're talking about. And we even have other colors. I can't tell you how many, but we have quite a few colors. And this is something that we'll probably stock all the time. I'm crazy about it for the reason I said earlier, which is very slimming. It doesn't grow. It washes really well. It sews up as easy as any knit. It's not a tissue weight. It's a little heavier than that. So it's easy to sew. But this is the Rose Street dress. And this is Erin's dress. She loves dresses like this. It has an inset sleeve detail that's kind of unusual. And then that seam goes all the way down. But, the drape and the flow of this fabric is amazing. Wear a dress like this anywhere, nice piece of jewelry, great shoes, scarf, whatever, and you can go anywhere. This is another ensemble of errands. This is the Eureka top, and she's run the ribbing crosswise, which is, I think, very interesting. But yet the skirt that she made, she ran the ribbing lengthwise. When on, it looks the same. It looks a little tonally different on the screen here, but basically when it's on, it looks the same color. But she's taken a skirt and done this to the side. So it's very simple, but nice detail. I can't remember. Hey, Erin, you have to answer this for me. What'd you start with on this? The E dress. Turned it into a skirt and then changed the hemline. And then Erin has on another dress. She's going to come over here. This is the Edgewater dress. And she's done 3 different fabrics. And the back is what is the rib knit. This is the rib. So you can use this fabric in conjunction with other fabrics, particularly viscose prints or viscose knits because they have a similar drape. So that's really cute. Really cute. And then this morning, I'd forgotten about this garment, but Betsy found a picture of me in this high 5 jacket, which I sewed up the front. And you know, this is cute. I was shocked at I looked pretty good in that photo. But this is the rib knit in a couple of colors. And I wore it over a longer t-shirt and some slim pants and looked pretty good. So those are the garments that are in this rib knit fabric, and all these rib knits plus the other colors are on sale this week. And I'm telling you, you have to have this in your wardrobe. I know you can't see this, but these are my green pants out of this, sort of, little different colorway. But I'm wearing it with the cottage shirt, and you know, I'm super comfortable, and I'm going on a little appointment this afternoon where I need to look a little bit better than I normally do, and I feel like I can get away with that with this fabric and these pants.
There is someone asking about your shirt.
This is the cottage shirt in one of the double weave crinkled cottons.
All right, I'm just looking through questions. There is a question about the white cotton shirts, if they're sewn with cotton thread. I believe they are sewn by Alabama Channon with polyester thread.
Yes, you want to use polyester thread on these knits, on all knits, basically. And I feel certain that they use polyester thread. Yeah, this has a very unique neckline, ribbing. Not ribbing, but binding. It's 2 pieces. And they've done a really good job of sewing that.
So those shirts, again, are made by Alabama Channon or the School of Making, and they are finished. You can select your size. Betsy has posted the link to those shirts on the chat.
Yeah.
And just to review, Linda, you are wearing the cottage shirt, and then
yes, with the West End pants. I wish I could get back farther, but I can't. West End pants. And mine are the shorter length, so I'm above my ankle.
All right. Betsy posted the fiber content for the rib knit, so that's in the chat.
I pulled out the colors that I thought were really happy colors for the summer. We do have some darker colors. We have black, we have white, and we have some other more, well, just darker, you know, fall colors. So we carry a lot of it. It is a little bit narrower than you think. Most knits are like 60 inches. This is only like 50 inches or something like that. So you do need to be careful of what you order.
Okay, I don't see any more questions.
Okay. All right. Well, congratulations, Alex. And you're writing another one, I know. So look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, I don't think it's coming out till 2026. So
yeah,
a while, but
yeah, it's funny like that. They plan way ahead, which is great. And yet sometimes they give you like a week. So you never know.
Yeah, for sure.
But you know, threads is our only remaining I think, fairly high-end garment sewing magazine. You know, we've lost the rest of them, and I think they do a fabulous job. Beautiful models, beautiful color, beautiful photography. And Carol Fraser, who's the editor, is a wizard, in my opinion, because she works hard and she works sort of alone. I know she has people who can help her, but it's amazing how she puts out these magazines so beautifully, so often.
Mhm.
So I want you to support Threads.
Sounds good. Trying to see if the issue number 230 is the number.
You know, I think I have every issue from the very beginning.
Really?
Some of them got wet in the vault, but I'm pretty sure I've got everyone. And I refer to them all the time. I also am one of those insider people where you have access to everything on the web. You can research a topic and find it. It's great. I was looking at the issue the other day and looking at an article about how long do you cut a lining. I mean, they have not just inspirational, beautiful photos of garments, but they dig deep into techniques as well. And I learned something the other day about that. So.
Well, that's all I have. Thank you, everyone.
Okay.
I look forward to seeing anyone's loungewear inspirations or how you create your own comfort. I think it's that's the piece of being a sewist. You can go out and purchase a matching set on even now Amazon or anywhere you can shop, but that we can actually create our own versions of the silhouettes and the fabrics with the patterns we love. That's the gift, as we all know. So
yeah, that's true. Okay, well, we will see you next week.